This is one of the scariest days of my life. I've spent hours wiring this plane up, and I'm about to try to turn on the avionics, and stuff might start smoking, it might blow up. Hopefully not, hopefully I did it right. We're about to find out. Hundreds and hundreds of connections, many, many feet of wire. So let's see if it works, follow me. So I don't even know if I did it right. Master switch on. I'm scared. I'm so scared.
I'm Jeremy Grobeck, mortgage master and airplane builder, but this is what I love. Let's get you home.
Wiring this bird was one of the most challenging parts of the build for me, mainly because it took so much time. Watch as my plug-and-play dreams get crushed. And I promise by the end, you'll find out, does the panel fire up or go up in smoke? I've got the aircraft far enough along that before I cover, I need to do some basic avionics installation on it, where I'm getting like some of the antennas put in place and the Autopilot, servos and things like that. So I just got that shipment of stuff in. It's all in this box here. Now this is not the, it's not gonna be any of like the head units, so to speak. We don't need that yet. This is more for, you know, like again, antennas and things in the back of the plane. So let's see what we got.
Stop. I just want to say, little did I know, this was the only page of the build log I was gonna bleed on.
So this is how it's packaged up.
And we got a bunch of stuff in here. I don't know what, honestly, what a lot of this stuff is. That looks like some directions. We've got a whole bunch of pins and adapters. Fun. All right, let's see what we got. This is a Pitot tube. For those of you that don't know, this is a Pitot tube. This is gonna mount on the wing, and this sucker gives us our airspeed basically. So it measures the air pressure, the ram air pressure coming in, and compares it to the static pressure. So anyways, it's also an angle of attack indicator. So that is cool, very cool. This is the Pitot tube that comes with the kit. So this would mount into the wing, right? And then the air comes in here. Big difference from that to that. And really what that is no fault on Kitfox, right? I get why they sent this. People want to put different systems in, right? So if Kitfox would have sent me, say, the Garmin Pitot tube, I didn't want to put Garmin in, I'm putting an advanced panel in, and the Garmin Pitot tube would have been useless. Well, these things aren't cheap, so Kitfox would have had to build that into the cost, right? So they're sending me enough to get it flying. You know, you got the old steam gauges, like back in the day, this was modern day technology, and now, you know, we've moved to this. So, but that's what you get with the kit. I find that humorous, why almost even send it, but I guess it's just a piece of pipe, didn't cost them much to send it. So anyways, this is what we use nowadays. We got a bunch of, this is how, I guess I should clarify. So a lot of this stuff says Dynon. Dynon has like a sub company that they acquired a couple years back. This is how I understand it. I could be a little off on some of this, but the sub company is Advanced. The way that Advanced Flight Systems works is they have a number of different ways you can order stuff. So a lot of the stuff that they use is Dynon, but they also have their kind of own product line and stuff. It's for experimental aircraft, so it doesn't have to go through some of the FAA approval processes, and the stuff's like apparently very up to date and cool and slick, and so it's going to be a really cool system. The way they send it is they build it all out, and ultimately I'm going to get the panel and basically be able to drop it into place, and most of the wiring is done. Now this is what I'm told. I have not experienced this yet, so I definitely have to hook that up, and you know, here's wires, but a lot of their stuff is plug and play, so hopefully the directions will just say plug this cable in over here, and you know, within a day I can have kind of most of the avionics working. Engine sensor, wire harness, fuel pressure stuff, so look at that. But again, in a sense, it's plug and play, although that's definitely, you know, gonna take some wiring. So this is a servo. So that's one of the Autopilot servos. So it's a lot easier to put this in before the fabric's on. So this is the lines. Again, this is stuff I need to run ahead of time. So these are the lines that run for the Pitot static systems. So this is the Pitot mounting tube. So this is what I'll mount to the wing, and then the Pitot tube basically slides in there. ADSB allows people to see where you're at and you to see where they're at. So we did these Zoom meetings. I'm gonna tell you about this experience. We did these Zoom meetings, kind of planned some basics out, kind of got a quote around and together and stuff with what I wanted. So this is like the initial shipment to get stuff installed, and then I'll have another meeting with them where we'll finalize planning of the panel, make sure everything fits right. It's the opportunity to tweak what we need to tweak, and then they'll build it, ship me the panel, I put it in, plug everything in, rock and roll. So here we have an antenna. And of course, what I need to do is make sure I have a mounting plate, in the right spot for this antenna. This is a fun one to talk about. This is an instrument you hope you never need. The emergency locator transmitter. And what that basically does is, should you go down and have some kind of crash, this sucker goes off and alerts the authorities, and search and rescue's there as quickly as they possibly can be. There's actually, airplane has to be equipped with one of these. They have to be checked during annual inspections and things like that. These are super important. Anyways, again, easier to mount before fabric. All right, so that's it. That's the initial shipment. That's what they sent me. I'll report back once I get this stuff installed, let you know how easy it was or hard it was, if I was missing anything. But this is the boxes. This is what Christmas morning looks like when you're, building an airplane.
Well, you can see when I got that initial box and got to start opening things up and really get started on wiring everything, man, I was fired up and ready to go. First up, I had to get the wires installed on the wings.
Now you can see I've pre-wired as much as I can here. I've got everything ready to go. I'm putting some kind of camping lights in here. And so this is the underside, and I've got a piece of wood and then a small piece of aluminum to kind of bring it flush with the fabric. And there's some glue on there, so it's all attached. And then the little LED light's gonna pop up through there, and it'll be wired down. There's another one over here. This is the outside air temperature probe. Wires are just kind of tucked up here for now. I am waiting for my magnetometer goes here. I have the magnetometer, but I do not have the aluminum screws yet. I ordered those. The Pitot tube comes up through here and hooks to these lines here. Those run back and down. The way I did the brackets here, I just put a little piece of metal, and the Pitot tube kit came with some nice little things that pop in there. So I pop that in there. So I pre-wired as much as I possibly could before fabric and put the fabric on and did a little bit more wiring while I anxiously waited for the panel to arrive. Oh man, today's the day. It finally came. What, you ask? All right, so here we go. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna bust this bad boy open. So this here is the main panel, and they've put most of it together. So let's take it over here to the bench. So most of the harnesses are made. Well, this is what they told me. Of course, I haven't actually seen it, but the harnesses are made. It's been bench tested. There's still definitely some hooking up to do. Are we ready for the reveal? There we go. So we have two EFIS screens. You can see a lot of this stuff is already mounted up. And even with the cords, they have a lot of the GPS cords already hooked up and stuff. Mode S transponder. We have a backup battery system, a GPS unit. Let's just check this thing out over here. That's my Garmin IFR certified GPS. and that will connect in with all the EFIS screens and everything. All the maps will be able to be pulled through to the EFIS screens. I'll be able to pull up geo-referenced approach plates, like it's all the high-tech 2025 technology stuff. Electronic circuit breakers. This is the control module, and everything kind of plugs in here, and what you end up with is electric circuit breakers. So rather than have to put a bunch of little, like you notice on the panel, there's only 2 circuit breakers, the starter and the battery backup. Everything else is internal through this unit. Say your lights go out, you pop the breaker on the tail light, right? There will be a little thing that pops up on the screen, and you can hit the button to reset it. Not necessarily something you'd want to do maybe more than once, because that circuit breaker's popping for a reason. But you can see what's popped, and you can see how much amperage each thing's drawing. And safety trim servo booster, GTR 205, ACM harnesses and accessories.
So with the panel unboxed, I was ready to get wiring, get that panel mounted and get flying. But I soon realized there was still a mountain to climb. Will the panel fire up or go up in smoke?
It's a lot of organizing of wire. Advanced panel had a lot of the stuff already together. The GPS and comm unit were not in. Put those in, that was pretty much plug and play, super easy. And this has nothing to do with advanced, but as far as mounting the panel, I had to drill a hole here, fabricate this pipe, and then the Adell clamps, same thing on the other side. This is how it mounts here on these tabs. More drilling. En route are trays that go here where a lot of the other units attach. So I'm waiting for that to come in. I just started pulling wire through. This is where I'm at now. I did have to do a couple wire harnesses with tying the knots and stuff. You can see how these harnesses are all tied up.
After many more head-scratching hours, pulling wire, putting pins on, my frustrations finally peaked, and I recorded this clip.
I'll tell you what, I've been pretty disappointed in what I got, and I haven't even gotten these Avionics fired up. I want to show some of this before a lot of this is covered up and you can't see it all. There's not a lot of information out there on the internet and even in the forums on the Avionics side. Like, people go mild to wild with it. I went more on the wild side. To me, time is like, and I say that, but I'm building an airplane, but time is my most valuable asset. Although I wanted to do this build and I knew it was gonna take a lot of time to build the plane, I wanted to save where I could save time. So like the fabric that I put on was the Oratex fabric, and I didn't have to paint it, and it saved me a lot of hours not having to paint. So with these Avionics, there's companies out there that will have pre-made panels, and honestly, Kitfox rolled out an IFR panel shortly after I ordered. I do, looking back on it, regret not going with that panel. However, from an Avionics standpoint, I got a sweet panel. It's got a lot of equipment, a lot of functionality. It's got more functionality than the Kitfox panel would have, even their IFR one would have. So I'm not complaining about this panel, but it was sold to me that it was going to be much more complete than it actually has been. And I'd have to add them up, but I know I'm over 100 hours into wiring. Kitfox says that it takes 4. That's, I guarantee, a bunch of BS. It might take 4 to pop their panel in and run the wires from the harness, but you're still, when I say I got over 100 hours into the wiring, I'm probably 125, 130. But that includes battery, like there's lots of other wiring above and beyond the panel. So don't compare that to Kitfox's 4 hours, or you can have it in a day. You ain't wiring the whole damn plane in a day, I guarantee that. So it just takes too long even just to run the damn wires. Because I want to give you the full rundown here in what I did and how I did it. So let's just start with, here's the panel. And you'll see right away, I went with an advanced panel, advanced flight systems. Again, this thing doesn't even turn on yet, so I'm not done wiring it. We have a G5, that's backup. The cool thing about that is it kind of works as a backup Adder's. I got two big EFIS screens. They're like 10-inch EFIS screens, a little over 10 inches. IFR GPS, and I went with the Garmin radio there. Up here we have Autopilot. This will be my prop control. Pioneer control grips. My gripe with Advanced Panel is they say it's a full package, it's all designed for the airplane, blah, blah, blah. Kind of, but not really. I've literally spent hours making wire connections, which I would not have to have done with the Kitfox panel, and they give you absolutely zero instruction on how to hook stuff up. All right, so let's go through two examples of why this wiring stuff from Advanced Flight Systems is crappy instructions. Lane A, as an example, well, it's not laid out the same. There's still 6 ports, but there's 2 on the left and 4 on the right, as opposed to 3 and 3. There's no pin numbers or anything on there. How in the hell am I supposed to know which wire goes to which one? So I have to email them and ask the question. Here's the start button. And hopefully that focuses. This is the start button. There's 2, dots with a start button. How do I know which prongs to hook it to? On and on and on this goes. I'm constantly having to email these guys and ask them for details. I will give them credit, they do respond, but my goodness, fix your instructions. But they do not give you instructions on where to locate everything, so you literally spend hours trying to figure it all out. And so part of the reason I'm recording this is maybe to help somebody else. But with that said, I'm a mortgage guy. I am not a mechanic, aviation mechanic, or any kind of mechanic. This is the first airplane I've ever built, and I have no idea if I did this right. I think I did. I just spent a lot of hours researching as well. So if I spent 100 hours putting it in, I spent another 100 hours trying to research where stuff goes. I will say advanced sales process is very smooth. Kyle was amazing at helping, pick out what instruments I wanted and kind of put that all together. They do respond within a day to questions and stuff. They answer the phone 50% of the time. If you're lucky, maybe 30% of the time they answer. If you call their tech line, they answer 90% of the time. And I've called over there probably 15 times with questions. So trying to figure it out because they didn't give me instructions, which number one complaint, like you're selling a complete package panel, but you can't send any instructions with it. They sent me to some links on some website and I downloaded 2 300-page manuals, which were pretty much not helpful. Let's start at the tail, let's work our way up, and let's show you what I did, where I put stuff, and what we got. Now some of this is gonna be standard Kitfox stuff. So back here in the tail, I know Kitfox pretty much talks about, I've seen on some of their build at the factory, they don't put clips, but I got it rigged up with a clip, so I can clip the rudder on and off. This is my tail light here. And so that'll slide through into the tail and hook up, or into the rudder and hook up. Those wires run up here along with trim position sensor and trim motor. And those wires run through this PEX just to help streamline it up to the front. This is my ADSB antenna. My comm antenna is right here. And so the comm antenna runs back, curves around, runs forward. The battery is located in the back due to trying to keep some weight back. So heads up, Kitfox sells this plate and battery box and stuff all comes with their firewall forward kit. I would recommend getting that stuff in advance prior to fabric if you can. You can see I left my piece of top fabric off. I was able to do that with the Oratex system and it worked out really well. But if you're putting one of the legacy fabrics on, you won't be able to do that because you'll really need to try to get some more wiring done up front. I'm so lucky. I've had this open because it's been so much easier to get back here and install this stuff. I grounded it right here in the tail, sanded that tab, sanded all the powder coat off that tab there, and grounded it there. So those wires all vector up. I'm trying to keep these wires apart, so the static ports, antennas, COM, ADSB, and then the power wires are running there. Again, I will clean some of this up a little bit more. Everything kind of comes up here. I used all of Kitfox's wiring to basically get to this point in the aircraft, because that's all shielded wiring, so all the lights, all those wires for all those things come up. And then that's where it ties into the harnesses that Advanced sent, and you got to splice all the wires together. You have to make these brackets, like, so you have to put all the pins in and all the wires for like the roll. This is for the roll servo. Here running up we have, let's show you from back here. So these wires all come here. They still have to make all those connections. These are your headset jacks. Those are what Kitfox, from the factory. You got to ask for them or they don't send them, and they charge you for them. I think those were 80 bucks, which isn't cool on Kitfox's part, in my opinion. But anyways, got those. So those jacks will all get put in there. The ELT, again, no direction on wire routing or anything. So you can see I ran a lot of the wires down and then they cut back up front. So even that plug, you have to put all the wires in there and make that connection. So the wires, I've got them all run up front here. Control stick, so control stick wiring, same thing, got to put all the connections on. I already put this one on right here on the control stick, but Advanced didn't send a connection for this, so I'm waiting on a number of parts for them on stuff they didn't send. This I had to splice in. This is the trim control switch that goes on the panel. There's already a hole for it. Might as well put it in. Yeah, and here's just, just another thing. I had them add a switch to the panel, which is cool. They added the switch, but gave me no directions on how to wire it. So I'm sitting here looking at 6 posts, and I got to call them to figure out how to wire it. Back here, you got 2 more switches that have to wire to some breakers down on this side. That all came from Advanced like that, so those breakers have to get wires tied into those switches. Why didn't they wire it for me? I don't know. Kitfox has a power bus that runs off the breakers. Advanced didn't send a power bus, so I had to buy a power bus from Aircraft Spruce. I'm waiting for that piece of copper to come. USB, hook it up, wire it up to this USB port, had to get run into the front harness. I basically made the front harness. That should have all been hooked up. They do a better job. It looks prettier. Cabin light controls should have been hooked to the wire harness, in my opinion. So a lot of this stuff just was not hooked up. This ground bus piece you can get from Kitfox. So this is for the ground bus. All your grounds go here. None of the ground wire was, Advanced didn't do any grounding of anything. So I had to buy ground wire and run separate grounds for everything. I know this hodgepodge of wires will get cleaned up better, but this is how their system works. This is essentially my electronic circuit breakers right here. So everything runs through this ACM, and it's really an advanced computer. It is a cool system. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about the sheer amount of work that it took to get to this point. Back here you have a heater. Same thing, the heater had to get wired in, so you can see the fans there. Heater had to get made, mounted, wired in. That's a Kitfox thing. You've got safety booster, so same thing here. They didn't send a wire long enough. They're gonna send me a new ground wire. I'm gonna have to take this harness apart. The location of all this stuff, I fiddled around with trying to figure out where everything would fit for a long time. This is the ELT. Speaker, if that goes off, safety trim booster, ACM are on this side. Back over here, EMS, it's basically where the engine monitoring stuff goes. Transponder, battery backup, and ADSB right there. So you got to get all your antennas up here. Kitfox, the way they do it, from what I can tell, they're putting the transponder remote, a remote comm radio, that stuff's mounted in the back. That would have been nice because I wouldn't have had to run the antenna lines as long. You probably noticed this from earlier, but the other location was the Adahars, which I located right there and made that mount for it. That took me a long time just to figure out how to do that. Nobody gave me any direction on any of that. And the Garmin stuff mounts up and down, not flat, so you couldn't go off what what Garmin was saying. The transponder antenna is back behind the header tank. So over here on the wings, I've got a landing light, I've got load lights, and I've got my nav lights. And the load lights are, you see the little black dot next to the pitot tube, and then there's one over on this side and a couple down there. So those are little LEDs I can flick on at night and see under the wings real well. Here we have magnetometer is mounted in there. And I mounted it there instead of, Kitfox does them here. But I couldn't do it here because the same thing, Garmin goes like up and down, and the Dynon one has to be flat. So these wires here will connect to my wingtips, the lights within the wingtip. I'm gonna put these on a clip, and I've got it set up so the wingtips can screw on and off with the nut plates there. So that should work out pretty good. I honestly, at this point, I would not go with advanced panel. I would talk more to Kitfox.
So from there, I spent many more hours wiring. Even once I was done and had a chance to give the panel a try, I still had hours of wiring engine harnesses and fuel pumps and the prop. Many, many more hours. I wired right up till the bitter end of part of the build. So it really never ended. And looking back on the process with advanced, I know I said I would not order one again, and I probably wouldn't. I would probably go with the Kitfox panel. But nonetheless, I think my expectations were wrong. And I think anybody building an airplane, the more bells and whistles you put in it, there are more wires you got to run. I think I created a lot of my own, frustrations in the sense I had all the bells and whistles, so I had all the wires, and it was just a complicated process. I mean, you look at any airplane, and so much of it's gone to the fly-by wire and the electronics and things like that, and pounds and pounds of wires go, hundreds of pounds of wires go into these aircraft these days. Essentially, in a sense, that's what I built, and I caused myself all of the hours of work because of all of the bells and whistles. At the end of the day, I do agree with everything I said in all of those clips from the beginning to the end. At this point in time, if I was building another Kitfox, I would go with the factory panel that they sell. And remember, I'm a mortgage master, not an airplane builder. If you need mortgage advice, I've got really good expert advice, but take this airplane building advice for what it's worth, free. And next time we are going to get started on the engine. So make sure you subscribe so you can catch my up and coming engine episode. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, did the panel fire up when I flipped that master switch?
All right, so I don't even know if I did it right, but and I'm not sure how to turn it on. Just make sure everything's off here. All right, master switch on. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Okay. Well, that's something. Avionics on. Garmin's firing up. We're still down in EFIS. There goes the other EFIS. We have our G5. Aw, shoot. About to put the seat in this and pretend to fly it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.